Have you ever just stared at a task? You know you need to do it. Heck, you might even want to do it, but you just can't start. It's this painful, super frustrating gap between what we want to do and what we actually do. So today, let's dive in and explore what is really going on behind that struggle. This question. This is the one, isn't it? It's like the silent scream inside so many people's heads. It's that feeling of being completely and totally stuck. Your brain's engine is revving, you can hear it, but the wheels just won't move. You've got the desire, you know what'll happen if you don't do it, but you're just frozen. You know, for the longest time, the answer society gave us was simple and honestly pretty cruel. It's a moral failure. You're just lazy. You're not disciplined. You just don't care enough. But what if that answer is completely, totally wrong? In this explainer, we're going to go on a journey from that place of self-blame to a much clearer scientific understanding. In this internal battle, it almost always comes with this deep, heavy feeling of shame. It becomes the secret you have to carry around. You might find yourself lying about why the homework isn't done or why that huge project at work is running late. You end up building this whole fortress of excuses just to hide the one thing you can't even explain to yourself, that you are trying. You're trying so hard, but nothing's happening. So let's look at the official definition of laziness. This is the label that gets slapped on from the outside, right? And eventually, it's the label we start to believe about ourselves. But this diagnosis, this whole idea that the problem is an unwillingness, well, it misses the entire point. It's not even in the right ballpark. Let's just pause and ask that question again, because it really does change everything. What if the roadblock isn't some kind of deficiency in your character, but a difference in your brain's actual wiring? What if the will is there in spades, but the mechanism to turn that will into action is, well, just different? Okay, to really understand this, we need to meet the CEO of your brain. And look, this isn't just some cutesy metaphor. It's a real concept neurologists use to describe a critical set of mental processes known as your executive functions. Think of it like this. Your brain is a massive, bustling company. You've got all these different departments: the memory department, the emotion department, the creativity department. Well, your executive functions are the C-suite, the management team that has to direct all of them, organize their efforts, and make sure the company actually, gets things done. So what does this CEO actually do all day? Well, first, it has to prioritize, figure out what's important right now versus what can wait. Then, and this is a big one, it has to initiate the action. It's the spark that gets the whole engine started. After that, it has to help you sustain your focus and effort, all while managing the emotional static that's always buzzing around trying to distract you. And this right here brings us to the absolute core of the whole thing. For a brain with ADD, that CEO, that entire executive management system, is overwhelmed. It's not lazy, it is clinically impaired. The signals get crossed, the priorities get all jumbled up, and that initiate button can feel almost impossible to press. This is not a choice, it's a neurological condition. Realizing this leads us to the most important part of our whole conversation today. I call it the Great Reframe. It's time to move away from all that blame and shift towards a brain-based explanation. And this is where that shift becomes crystal clear. Look at the difference. The myth says you're just lazy. The reality, your brain is stuck. The myth says you lack willpower. The reality is your executive functions are neurologically challenged. The old story was all about a moral failing, but the true story is about a clinical issue. That's a night and day difference. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Seriously, let this sink in. This is not about being broken or lazy or defective. It is about operating with a different kind of wiring, a neurotype that, comes with its own set of challenges, but is in no way a measure of your worth, your intelligence, or your character. And understanding all this isn't just some intellectual exercise. It actually opens up a brand new path forward, a path that replaces all that judgment and shame with something way more powerful: compassion. This knowledge is what lets us make these huge, life-changing shifts. We get to move from blaming ourselves to understanding our brains. We move from being paralyzed by shame to actually developing strategies that work. And maybe most importantly, we stop asking that painful question, why can't I? And we start asking a much more powerful one. Okay, knowing how my brain works, how can I? And this is just so crucial to hear. That exhaustion you feel, it's not from being lazy. It's from the monumental effort it takes to fight against these invisible neurological barriers day in and day out. Just recognizing that effort, whether it's in yourself or in someone else, is the very first step toward a much better way of living. So, this is the question we're left with, right? This new understanding, it's not an excuse, it's an explanation. And once you have the right explanation, you can finally start building real effective solutions for yourself, for your kids, for your coworkers, for your friends. It all starts with changing the question.